We are all buildings, all cement, brick, and rigid in our own right. We are the skin of the city we derive from. We are the exhale of every big bad wolf that has ever tried to blow us down. I built this body out of poems. When I saw two of my fellow little pigs allowed a system to gentrify their homes away. Oh grandma, what big hands you have. Yes, big enough to steal you, my dear. We are all just the aftermath of happily ever afters. When Cinderella finally realized that Prince Charming was just searching for some other man's heirloom that he could claim as beautiful. The world teaches us that humans depreciate in value when the world has stamped us antique, but we are all buildings. Brownstones that stood the test of time, still standing after the riots and the famine, and the riots ensued by famine after the sun has corpsed a lineage of vines to our flesh. We are that one tree growing in Brooklyn that knows nothing of a responsibility of how we must provide oxygen for our entire city. We are the breath of our city. Walking ornaments of lungs behind plexiglass, however, to tourists, we are just zoo animals behind plexiglass. Silently, they observe our habits, tap on our outer shell to see if they can rile us, piss on our corners to claim their territory. We are territorial by nature. It is these levels that have made it this way, the staircases in our veins, this basement in our chest, this building is mine. I own this. I and only I alone can lord this land. We hold temples in our temples when society at large approves of a cultic practice. We are labeled religious, yet with similar practices are not approved. We are looked at skeptically and called magical. We all carry a bit of magic in our bones, the fairy dust of our city slipping from our cuticles. We are the fingertips on the hands of a mother, jostling between her laundry bag and her 2-year-old son. Where I come from, women juggle responsibilities like prayers, never allowing neither one to ever hit the floor. Where I come from, we hit the floor running every time bullet shells make festivals out of thin air. Where I come from, we can tell you what poverty looks like. How it's not just a malnourished face in Nigeria, how sometimes it's a quart of water and pack of ramen noodles for the 5th time this week. Where I come from, we can tell you what poverty looks like. How it's not just a malnourished face in Nigeria, how sometimes it's a quart of water and pack of ramen noodles for the 5th time this week. Where I come from, a gangster is not just a persona objectified in one of your favorite rap songs. It is a state of living. A call and return is the moment you realize that all you got are these streets and your boys and that block, and it's your duty to ride for them until the wheels fall off. Where I come from, we ride on fumes and gas chambers and ventricles and hearts and blood and the buoyancy of it. How it has the ability to lift us when we need it the most. I know a woman on my block, toppling building of the woman she is. She has 3 kids and not enough hands to go around, so every now and again I lend her mine. Tell her she can borrow them for the weekend. Community means knowing that your fists are not alone in this fight. See, contrary to popular belief, ghetto is not just some looked down upon way of being. It is a place, and it is real, and it is adopting our children by 1,000 each and every single day. If my niece ever grows naive enough to believe that her skin could somehow dictate the way she is to live, and I am not there to correct her, I want you to tell her where we come from. Tell her that we're buildings. Tell her that God built us with bricks for bones and Jesus in the floorboards, but don't tell her Jesus in the floorboards. Let her find out herself. Let her kneel. Let her bruise her knees. Tell her we don't bruise easily. Tell her we're survivors. Tell her we're strong. Tell her we're juicy. Tell her we're Super Nintendo, Sega Genesis. Tell her about Biggie, but don't speak about his death. Tell her about the streets and how they have a way of holding us for ransom. Tell her that we never really made very good hostages, that we're opinionated, that we're confrontational, that we don't care much for blindfolds covering our faces. Tell her that he tried covering our faces, tried bending our arms and bleaching our skin 10 shades closer to submission. Tell her that when she finds herself so shaken she can't even trust her own voice, is then she must kiss the floor. Thank God for being her foundation. I do not know where tomorrow may lead. I haven't quite made it there yet. All I know is this body, this building, this glass in my chest, and the way it shatters every time a neighbor dies. But first, I'm living their statistic. We are all just numbers that carry no absolute value, just fractions of everything that the bigger picture has been reduced to. Did you know that Georgia is still killing niggas legally? Jim Crow lives in a thin line of pen ink. They can make an example out of any one of us if we let them. Your last name doesn't have to be Davis. The word passion. The word passion derives from the Greek word for suffering. Why else do you think they call us starving artists? We bleed for this craft, for this moment, for this time, for this now. Watch as our hearts dissolve on stage. We have found community in this space, and we're not afraid to share our good news, our gospel. I do not know what the answer is, or even what the question should be for that matter. All I know is we're built like buildings. In this poem, it's just my spell, so desperately trying to turn us back into humans. That is not a chimney in your chest, it is a heart. Use it. There are no fuses in your bones. Relax that fire and realize that we're all together. We are the skin of this city. So grab hands and hold each other like skin. Thank you.